My name is Eric Houchin, and this is my game audio demo reel featuring Unity and the game Angry Bots. I started by creating an asset list to identify and manage all the sounds needed for the game. This was a relatively small project, but organization and planning is always key. The game is set in an environment with advanced technology and machines, so the sound design has a focus around synthetic textures and machine-like sounds. So in addition to my own sample library and subtractive synthesis, I also recorded some household items that were used with layering to get the final result. There are three basic enemy types in the game: the flying buzzer, a robot spider, and a mech. The flying buzzer has a combination of a hovering sound and an attack sound. The spider has an alert phase, movement sounds, and a self-destruct proximity setting that reacts to the distance of the player from the spider. The mech also has an alert phase, heavier sounds for its movement, and an attack. I also added a script to the mech to play a motor sound that will increase and decrease the motor's pitch based on the velocity of the mech's movement. The explosion sounds after defeating an enemy were created using sample layering that accounted for the various components of the sound. I modified the autofire script so that in addition to a primary shooting layer, an asymmetrical layer is added to keep the shooting from sounding repetitive, as each time it loops, it will create a variant of the original. The environmental ambiance is supported by various machine hums and environmental noises. I also added reverb zones for the various rooms and corridors throughout the map. The music was created and implemented in two distinct parts, one for when the player is moving stealthily around the map, and another for when the enemies are attacking the player. I then added the adaptive music into the game using the Fabric plugin by Tasman Audio. Using Fabric, I defined a game event for combat and used it to crossfade between the two loops. I added a script that plays the first loop when the map starts, then based on function updates from when an enemy attacks, the second layer is crossfaded in, and the original is crossfaded out until the attack is ended. At this point, most of the work had been completed, so just for fun and demonstration purposes, I took out most of the sound effects and implemented them again, but this time using FMOD Studio, to see how I could improve the audio experience. Instead of the rain being one continuous stereo loop, I cut the sound into smaller segments, and used FMOD's Scouter sound module that randomized the playback and spatial placement of the sounds to create a continuously evolving event. I then separated all the explosion sounds into their component elements, and then layered multiple multi-sound modules, each with their own individual modulation settings, to create a generative explosion sound effect system. So now each time an enemy is destroyed, it creates a unique explosion sound that doesn't repeat. I also used a similar technique for the player shooting, but this time adding a sound for silence to the second layer. This closely simulates the asymmetrical player shooting technique that was previously implemented, but in this case doesn't require any additional coding. I'm Eric Houchin, and I had a lot of fun creating and implementing the sounds for this project, and thank you for watching my game audio demo reel using Unity.